Hi, you're listening to Everyday Superpower, and this is basically the place where you're going to learn how to read everyone around you. Alright, we keep it plain and simple, we get straight to the point, we give you real world, applicable knowledge, and here you will learn a superpower. So, without further ado, we're going to get straight into the lesson. It's going to be a further continuation of our series on women attraction signals, and let's get straight into it. So if you enjoy it, click like, click subscribe. If you have any comments or if you've experienced any of this body language in real life, we'd love to hear it. Leave a comment down below and let's get into it. So today we're going to be continuing on our talk with the hips of a woman, okay? We're going to talk about the hips in relation to a woman, accenting them, and the ratio as to what means sort of perk, it is a perk, but peak fertility and, ratio when it comes to the waist in comparison to the hips, alright? So, women in excellent health. My apologies, I've had too much coffee today, I'm messing up. So, women in excellent health, yeah, are most capable of successfully bearing children with a waist to hips ratio of 70%. Okay, that means that the waist is 70% the size of her hips, alright? This is what will give the hourglass figure we hear of, okay? It represents fertility, and it accents the difference between the man and the woman, because the man does not have these childbirthing hips that a woman has. We always get asked, are you a breast or a bum man? But realistically speaking, the majority of us subconsciously are hip men. We like to see the contrast between the hips and the waist because it fulfills a biological need. You know, it creates a urgency to procreate with those whom we deem fertile. As men, of course. We think very visually. We're not like women in regards to our needs. All we need is an aesthetically pleasing, feminine mother. Health is wealth. So when the ratio reaches 100%, so that means 100% hips, 100% waist, just straight down, there is a loss of interest. But when it drops below 70, so what I mean is when the waist is smaller but the hips are even more large, there may be somewhat a loss of interest to a degree, but there is still a maintaining of interest, okay? So when the hips become more aligned with the waist, they're somewhat detrimental in regards to the attractive pull a woman's physique can garner from the man, biologically speaking. But when the waist is tighter and the hips are even more exaggerated, it's lesser of a problem, okay? Because some men, myself in particular, do like the cartoonish, real bold accentuation of femininity, such as the large lips and the breasts and the bum and the waist and so on and so forth. It's no hindrance for there to be a bold accentuation on that, because why not? All right. But whereas when that's taken away and deducted, especially when it comes to a waist to hip ratio, you enter more so of a masculine realm. And of course, people can't help it, so it's not an issue, but biologically speaking, it is less appealing to the masculine, okay? Because you deduct some of the feminine. So the optimum is 70% waist, 100% hips, all right? Even when a woman's weight is quite heavy, so when a woman is potentially overweight, the factor still remains. As long as there's that hip to waist ratio, it still is in accentuation of the feminine, and the fertility. And to be fair with you, as far as fertility goes, it is better for the woman to hold a little more fat rather so than be, you know, as lean as a muscular male whom can do that, whereas a woman loses out on, you know, fertile chemistry when they go sub 20% body fat, sub 15% body fat, whereas a man becomes a symbol of health because men can do so. If anything, for a man to be sub 10% body fat would be optimal in regards to the attraction to the woman, purely as we show health, we don't hold weight on our stomach. Our facial aesthetics are amplified purely as we chisel the lines and the sharp details of our face, separating us from the other men who blur them lines by having a higher body fat percentage. And we'll get into that in a later video, alright? But just to re-clarify, we've just spoken about the accentuation of hips in women and the particular ratio as to which serves a standard of optimal reproductive and fertile value, at least in the eyes of a man, without getting too, you know, overt or potentially verging into the masculine space. I hope this has been a benefit. If you've enjoyed this, feel free to click like. If you have any opinions on what you prefer, if you actually go against anything I've said, I'd love to hear that. So feel free to leave a comment and don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye.